cut to the root, we talk solutions. No phony capping when we rapping, it's all solutions. If clarity is what you're seeking, let's talk solutions. Let's talk solutions. Let's talk solutions. Let's talk solutions.
What's up, everybody? Thank you all for joining here at Let's Talk Solutions, where we get right to it. We don't waste any time. But we're going to start off today's conversation, and we're going to be looking into the necessity or the need for marriage. Is it in demand? Is it something that is we all clamoring and crying out for, or are these fake crocodile tears? Are we actually looking to be in long-term good relationship, prosper in our communities, or are we just faking the funk? So before we even get started, please, if you like this type of content, please hit that like, subscribe, and please share this with a friend. Let us get this in the algorithm so we can start talking some solutions. But we got we got a lovely panel today, and I want to go ahead and give thanks for everyone taking time out their day for coming and joining us. But let's go ahead and get right to it. What do we think? Is marriage something that's in high demand today, or are people just faking the fun, talking about it? I think we hear it everywhere. There's all conferences everywhere, man. You know, ain't no women out there to marry. Ain't no men out there. Ain't no good men out there to marry. Men don't want nothing but these skins, and so on and so forth. And the sisters, all they want to do is drop it low and do it twice. These are the conversations that's taking place inside of the whole narrative of marriage. And it doesn't sound too good, in my personal opinion. Everything has been pretty negative for the most part, where it's just talking down one on another. I haven't heard anything that's really been uplifting for the most part. First thing I want to do is get into why that might be. Why are we so negative on interdependency, on the dynamic of men and women coming together? Where is the faith in one another, and why is it lacking? So if anyone want to give me a good answer on any one of those questions, so we can jump right into this, is marriage in demand?
I can give an opinion on that. Can you all hear me?
You coming in real light.
All right. Is this a little bit better?
That's better. That's much better.
All
There
right,
you go.
beautiful. That's much better. I say that we are marrying much less, although we have many conversations online about marriage and partnership and who deserves what and who's worthy of what. I find it so interesting the irony that we are marrying less than our ancestors, than our families before us, and I feel it's on the decline. And I feel that one of the reasons why is because we have a hyper independence on both ends. We feel that marriage, a lot of times I've heard people mention that it's not only not beneficial to them, but it's actually going to be a deficit to them. And that is a complete change from what I would notice generations prior have thought. It is something that they look to say this is can be enriching to my future. But now I'm noticing in a lot of spaces it's viewed as a deficit, and that actually saddens me.
I would tend to agree that there's a deficit, and the independency, hyper independency. I heard a brother say this, and it made a lot of sense. There is only three types of dependency: uh, dependency, interdependency, and if I'm not mistaken, this codependency. This hyper dependency is a thing that women came up with to express the narrative of not needing a man, or being a boss babe, as they say, and being on their own. So not that I don't like it, just want to set the table for this conversation. When we speak about hyper independency, I'm not sure if we find that something that is typically in men. Um, I think that that is something that has been that is a thought that has been cultivated by society, but birthed through women. It may have been something that's cultivated in society, and I say that because I think men had a part in that. INDEPEN, and he was talking about a woman. You know what I'm saying? She was the one who was the spearhead for this no dependency of a woman. A woman having her independence. Y'all still hear me?
You're a little bit in the matrix a little bit, and you're freezing a little bit. So I'm waiting. I was thinking
Okay.
maybe it was connection, but I'm catching up. I'm
But
listening.
go ahead. You can go ahead then. Go ahead. If you heard
No,
something
I
you
want
wanted to
to
speak on.
finish your. No, no, no. I was listening to what you were saying about you feeling that men having a part to play in it with the song you just mentioned, and I remember that song, and I feel what you're saying. I respect what you're saying. When I use hyper independence, I definitely feel like on women's end in this modern society, in Western culture, there is a hyper independence that I don't need a man for anything. I don't need anybody. I pay my own bills. So I definitely see that.
Okay.
The reason why I feel like it's hyper dependence on a man's end as well is because even though uh, I feel men have a natural masculine initiative about them, and they can be a lone wolf and go after their purpose and go after their. I still felt in times past men felt like, you know what, but at some point I want to partner with a woman because I know she can bring things to me that can add to me. She can add to my life. I don't need a woman for my life, but I see her value and I see that her feminine essence can bring something that's complementary to me. So that's the reason why I feel like on men's end, it's also hyper independence because I've heard some young men feel like, no, I don't feel like that would only be a deficit to me. And when a person feels like they're an island and they need no one, I feel that's hyper independence. That's taking something that's the initiative and taking it all the way to the extreme. Because at the end of the day, we are social beings and no one can exist on an island and flourish for long. So that's what I mean by hyper independence on both ends. Even with men, they still saw the value of mating and having that feminine presence. What do y'all
No,
think?
okay. Yeah,
Y'all
no,
know the
I understand that. I can understand that, and I can see the picture that you're painting pretty vividly. The only thing that I will give pushback or offer pushback on is I think that for men, marriage has become so risky. Marriage has become a thing where it's trendy and it's popular for women to utilize any hurt, harm, or damage that has transpired inside of their relationship to put an end to it. It is not so much that I think that we need to go back to a time where women didn't have the ability to choose, but I do believe it's about time that we take time to cultivate choices much better. The deliberation process should be a little bit more strenuous. It shouldn't be something that's just so easy. And I think that that apprehension or that notion gives men pause and room to think like, I don't know, man. The women out here nowadays are really looking to end the marriage. They having what they call divorce parties. Like they're happy to end a marriage. You know, after 15, 7, 12, 22 years, they happy. They got balloons and all type of party shakers and confetti going off in the air to end something that's supposed to have been a lifelong journey. And not all the time, but there are times where that may have been something that was proper because of physical the physicality of arguments they may have been into without having to use that word. I'm just hopefully everyone understand what I'm saying. So with that being something that's probably happening, and no, probably that is happening, But for the most part, it is not the larger issue at hand. It's just an issue. And seeing that that's the case, I think that marriages should not be as scary or as quickly ended. Hey, not quickly ended due to that fact. But that's not what's happening. Marriages are ending. They're being families are being torn apart and broken, and it has scared the living bejesus out of a considerable amount of men. Now, seeing that that is the case, do people really? I mean, I've been in these rooms on Clubhouse. I've been in these spaces in other Facebook, Instagram, and the conversation or the post is about marriage as though people really want it. But if people really wanted it, why are we some of the least married? Why is the birth rate the birth rate, I'm sorry, the replacement rate falling? All these things are indicative of people not having union. So I think, in my opinion, people just talking. Men and women are out here just running their mouth, and they moving their lips just because they got them. But these loose lips is what's continuously sinking ships. Everybody talking about what the problem is. Nobody got a solution. Everybody crying about why men are this way, why women are that way. But yet, I don't see anything that is stemming the tide to reverse the situation and take it back the other way. So I'm at the point where I don't really believe marriage is in demand. I just don't believe people are really trying to get married.
No, I agree. I completely agree. And that's the reason why I said it was ironic when I keep hearing these conversations. Do you really want to know what I think, y'all? I think that these conversations are not out of a real interest for marriage. It's because people know what stirs up our nervous systems. Like if you have a conversation and you're rolling through a hall in Clubhouse, and not just Clubhouse, but other spaces, right? Whether it be YouTube or, certain kind of platforms. If we have a topic and a person sees, how to have fulfillment in your life or how to seek purpose, right? Just off top. But then you have another topic that says, what is the problem with, men or women, or what is some sort of inflammatory title. Many, many times we have been so trained to automatically go into that space because we know it's going to be provocative. We know it's going to be something that stirs up some sort of surge of adrenaline. And a lot of times we are so caught up in fight or flight that we are attracted to that conversation. And we pontificate endlessly about the problems that we have. We pontificate endlessly about the anecdotal experiences, not only we've experienced, but people that we've seen. And it just keeps feeding upon itself. And that's the reason why I was drawn to this kind of conversation, is because it's almost never gauged toward solutions. It's almost never gauged toward, okay, let's put these solutions on the table, and then let's come back and revisit this and see how many of us have decided to at least put into place one or two of the things that we talked about. How is that going? It's never a revisiting of that. It's always just this stirring up. And I think that is, some of it's on purpose, but other conversations are well meaning. But it's that's what it is. It's not solution based. And I do think it's not in demand as much at all. We are talking and we're talking in circles around each other. I agree.
Hey, before I let I think I saw Daryl come off the mic. Before I let him tap in on this, I agree with you. I agree that it is a hamster wheel conversation that people jump on and jump off in, and they come back for exercise in moving their lips and their tongue, and it's only lip service in the notion of I want something to complain about. And that's a humanistic thing. We all want to have a plight. We all want to be understood. Well, let me rephrase that. We all want to be understood, and we all have plights. So therefore, there's something to talk about, converse with, to reach out and build bonds with. These are, and they call those trauma bonds. And people are really good in today's age at doing so due to the social media platforms such as we've spoken about. So it gives you a long stretch of an arm to reach out and trauma bond with somebody over things that, quite honestly, can be healed, can be resolved. Um, and that is not a part. Resolving the issue is never. Well, I don't say never. It's just like you did. There are platforms in these spaces on the internet where people are actually genuine in this type of conversation. But for the most part, people are lacking uh, a genuine heart. They're lacking the authenticity to really get to the root. Because if for me to look into the world and see that a majority of women are more preoccupied with the way they with the education they get, the 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 job, or should I say I say the job that they obtain or the career they obtain, and the way they look, and also how how much they can vacation. Like these are the top things when it comes to what people desire. And that's not only limited to women, but I'm using them for an example because that's the measuring stick for me. When I look into the world, these are the ones who are always talking about, I'm educated. We're the most educated demographic. These are the ones who are always saying, we're making more money now than you. These are the ones who are always talking about how well they can drop it low, or the lace dress that she just bought 2 days ago from whatever Neiman Marcus, whatever store that they may frequent. These are the conversations that are taking place on the internet and got the most likes. And I see that our focus has been deviated from relationship and actually building together. It's been placed on what you just said, being an island, and being a fanciful island at that. Men are doing the same thing too. It's just in a different way. I don't think it's the same way it looks for women when their focus is being on what I just mentioned. Men is more so like, uh, I got this house, I got this car, and I'm able to provide. That's the more of a man's focus. But still, even inside of that, those thoughts are welcoming to providing for someone. They're welcoming to make a union. It's just the fact of the matter that they've become so, I don't want to say afraid, but concerned of losing the work so hard for, which makes them, or us. I don't want to keep on talking like I'm not a man, because I still could see it, even though I'm a married man. I still could see what the fear factor might be. That, hey, I don't want to lose this. I've been working hard. It took me 7 years to get this, 12 years, 22 years to come across this type of success to be able to provide. So I agree with you, sis. I agree with you in the sense that no one is really talking about how to solve the issues and how to bring back the desire, the want, the warmth of relationship, true relationship, not just sex, not just having a good night. You know what I'm saying? But actually wanting to grow and intertwine yourself with someone for life. I thought I saw Daryl. Did you want to get in? I thought I saw your mic go off.
Yeah, it's still on. I didn't even know it was still on. Y'all heard me washing dishes. My bad. Trying to get
All
that.
right, come a little close to the mic.
Trying to get that chicken ready. Now, I don't think marriage is. I don't think it's in demand, and it's sad because I wish it was. I really wish it was, for our women, for Black women, because, um, like she said, it's value in having a wife. Having a good woman by your side, and um, I think, um, they strategic. What's the word? Like this strategically. I think this has been done, like, um, with taking the fathers out of the home. Um, so that gave women a sense of, oh, we can do it on our own. The kids growing up seeing that, like, our mama did it on her own. So I can do it on my own. They get these good jobs and these great careers, and they don't care about, having a husband. They have, boyfriends or baby daddies, but they just really just turn into walking dildos, because there's really no connection there. It's just about sex, and um, that's how all these teenagers and these little kids end up in the situations they in, because it's just all this. There's no unity. So I wish it was. I wish it was different for us, because for me, I do want to be married, and I I want to be a husband. So that's part of me knowing that I'm gonna be a good husband, is because I want to be. So, um, and I know I'm gonna bring value to some woman's life, and I want it to be the same way. I understand why men are afraid, because men, we don't take heartbreak well anyway. So for a woman to break your heart, and then now you're going through a divorce, and now she's taking all your money and taking all your assets, like, it's one thing to just break up with me. Now you taking everything. It's different when you just my girlfriend, and you ain't on the lease of this apartment, or the lease of this condo. So you can leave, grab your stuff and leave. But when you married, it's a lot deeper. It's a lot deeper than just, are we breaking up? And yeah, so I know that, if our culture looked at marriage as an asset, that all the communities, I feel like, will be a lot better, because, like, like Latinos, white people, like, they get married right out of high school. They be in college married already. So I feel like if our culture was like that, we'll be better off. But I don't think marriage is in demand at all. I think everybody just
Now, see,
like being able to dip and
let me
have
jump in.
all
Let,
these
let me and
different
let me
people.
jump in there with you on that, because I wanna say some of what you just said. As you just spoke about, other ethnicities have a premium. They place a premium on marriage. They go to college, and guess what? They looking to get married. They're looking to find someone. Now, this is something that's very uncommon in our community, and more common in theirs, but it's still, that is on the decline. That train of thinking, or that way of thinking, is still on the decline. But why? Why? That's my question to anybody that's listening. Why is marriage not on the premium? Why is it that we not thinking about making unions? The most wealthy people in the world are who? Married people. The men that generate the most money are married men. But yet we continuously think that I'm gonna be better off on my own. So I just want to understand. I want to first understand, why is that the train of thought? That why do we believe that it's better to go about doing this on my own first, before we start kind of diving into some solutions on this topic?
Cause most black men that got their feelings hurt in 8th grade, and we ain't forgot.
They can go
Cause we
say it
be,
again. Most black men
cause
what?
most black men that got our feelings hurt in 8th grade, and we ain't forgot, and now we scared.
You know what? I can't say you. Hey, he ain't lying.
Man,
He ain't lying.
we ain't let it go. By the time we get to high school, we dogs. We dogs now. We just literally dogs with our tongue out, just ready to just go wherever. and that's through pain. That's through pain from some little girl hurting your feelings, where she went over there with Stefan or whoever she left you for. Now you forever. And our culture is like, just look at our culture with the pimp culture, how long that lasted, and how many families and men was messed up with just that alone, just thinking you a pimp and a player. Like, only person they end up pimping was their mama, because they stayed with their mama till they was 56, end up on dialysis. I digress.
Now I want to try and I wanted to try and find something. I wanted to talk about that. What you just said, pimp culture. That's been something that's been implanted in our way of thinking
Yeah, that messed us up big
forever.
time, man. That being, you was either one or two things. You was a gangster or you was a pimp. So
Yep.
either way, that didn't fit in no type of household or have
I gotta
any type
find
of
that.
union.
Give me a second.
You can't. You know, Big Mama not gonna tell that young lady to marry him if he's some gangster. Big Mama not gonna give her her blessing to marry this fake pimp dude. So, and then the culture was the working man the sucker. The working man the sucker. Okay, so now you got, now all the only man these women feel like they could pick is the drug dealer. It's the hustler. And he ain't gonna be around long. You get your little twos and froos, and he going to jail or he getting killed.
I'm gonna have it prepared next time we have, because this is gonna be a bit of a series. We're gonna be talking about this for at least the next 2 weeks. But the brother was doing a breakdown of what's it called? Uh, black. It's some kind of, I forget the word he used for it, but black movies. It's basically black movies, and they started back in like the late '60s, early '70s, and Hollywood didn't think it was gonna be any money in the audience of a black audience, so they really didn't want to do it. So all these movies were low budget movies. Guess what? One of them was The Mac. What's another one of them? Uh, 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 had old girl. What's her name? Pam Grier in it. I can't think of the Shaft. All these
Foxy
movies were coming
Brown.
out, and they were doing. Man, they was blowing the box office back, and they couldn't believe, like, damn, these low budget movies are making all this money, and they started looking into why. And then they started looking into the effect of it, how little boys in New York started to want to be like Shaft, and how little boys in New York wanted across the country really wanted to be like what's his name, the pimp off the Mac. They started wearing the coats. They started wearing the big hats with the long brim. They started doing these things and talking different, acting different, taking drugs, all this stuff because of what was put in front of us as propaganda to steer you in a direction of destruction. But what looked fun, it's something that looked like, hey man, this don't hurt. This ain't hurting nobody. I'm just having a good time, me personally. And the way he broke it down, I'm not doing it nowhere near justice. So I really want to play a clip of it so we can hear it and then dialogue on that clip, because it was pretty amazing, man. And there was a book that was written about this. So I can't think of the name of the book, but nonetheless, it was pretty amazing. So I think what you just said about how we just wanted to be, or we want to be scoundrels, we want to be drug
Yeah,
dealers, we want to be
this was
pimps.
all this was all about design, man. This was all about design, that our kids be killing each other, our women don't trust us. Um, we in jail. Like, look at all us in jail, man. Like, this all been by design. So now our women got all these different baby daddies and these broken homes and these broken kids, and it's just messed up, man.
And indeed it is, man. And I'm persuaded to believe, like as you just said, and no, you know what? It is my belief. Not persuaded, it is my belief that, as you just said, this is all by design. And seeing that it was by design, there means that there is a counteracting method that we can enact to stem the tide, to have this to go in a reverse direction, and we got to start implementing. I would have to say that if we both can sit here and say that one of the things that play a big part is what we ingest through our eyes and our ears, we got to start changing it. Then we can't continue to listen to WAP. We can't continue to listen to uh I don't know the song name. I can't sing it. At Scammers, where my scammers at? We can't continue to listen to Juicy J. I know he don't rap no more. That's just where I left off at. But nonetheless, these are the things that we have to start changing. Even the things that we watch. What enters into our chamber of imagery got to change
It's
for
sexy.
us to begin to see the change. Say it again.
Bow, bow, bow. Sexy red. It's sexy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, back
Ooh,
when
sexy red.
I was swinging I had longer dreads about 4, 5 years ago. No, but damn, my bad. 8, 9 years ago. Shaking my dreads to Gucci Mane. You know what I'm saying? All these things we glorified. We thought to be, man, this is fun, this is dope. We young and we in the mix. And that's the way that we present it to the youth. As long as the generation before them keep presenting to them this terrible box of explosives, they're gonna keep on handing that box of explosives off to the next generation. One of us got to stop and say, "Hey, this is a diabolical weapon right here in our hand. Let's get rid of it." But as long as we continue to say, "Here, you take it, and you take it, and you take it," it's only continuously blowing up and destroying our community. And then we wondering why we seeing things such as uh, uh, young women going to different countries, getting the most terriblest thing happening to them, and they come up missing. While we see men, the same thing with men, they going out there looking for women to marry, but them women out there robbing, doing the same dirt. They leaving, they going over there and having it done to them. So it is only hurting us. It's only continues to take us down the same path that's laden with AR-15s, a bunch of arrows, and missiles, all aimed at the dome piece of so-called black men and women. I think that's one solution that at the end of this, I guess, broadcast, or at the end of this recording, that we really gotta twist the Rubik's cube on and see how we put this together and make everything match. Because I look and I see that it is terribly hard to find a wife nowadays, and I'm almost certain for the women who are marriage minded, it's probably terribly hard for them to find a husband nowadays. You know what I'm saying? And notice, I'm not saying all women, and I'm not saying all men. I'm speaking to the marriage minded individuals that are looking for that counterpart. They hard to find. Needle in a haystack. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if Kaya, if you are available to speak, but you can chime in whenever you're ready. Um, but anybody else, go ahead and feel free, man. We can keep on branching out, because I think that's the main thing, in my opinion. That is the main thing that we can talk about. It's what we are making a part of our culture. Pop culture is whatever we say it is. For the most part, if we making popular music, guess what? That's what everybody playing. If we
We
bobbing our heads
we
to it,
gotta we gotta convince these young women, because the kids, they run the world. Black kids run the world. Excuse my French. Niggas run the world. It's just that simple. Whatever we deem is cool, that's what the world feel is cool. So if we can get these young girls, like, really get their mind to, because as young boys, young men, we only do what women like. We Everything we doing is to get the attention of a woman. So because these young girls feel like a little boy being a savage, being a killer, being a thug, being in the streets, it's cool, It's hard. It's sexy. This what these little boys gonna do. If if these if these young women decided to say, hey, you told guns is not cool, it's not attractive, but you being 16, having a job, that is attractive. And then also having some self respect and demanding that, hey, if you like me, this is only leading towards marriage, and demanding that. And that will change the world because as little boys, we gonna do what y'all say and what y'all want. Because we can sit back and say whatever we want, yeah, but women are the prize. You get you a good woman, especially if you can y'all start off together, young teenagers in love, 16, and live a life together after that, like that's beautiful. So
Now, for the
I think it's
oh,
on
go
I
ahead,
think
Rick.
it's on
My
I
bad.
think
Go ahead.
it's on I think it's on women to demand different, and they got to start young. They got to stand on that.
What you think about that, Sister Ro? I see you nodding a little bit. I like to get your thoughts before I say anything.
You know what? I wanted to definitely build on what Brother Daryl said because a lot of what he's saying is what I was feeling in my spirit. Because in order to realize the solution, I really, really believe that we have to understand the different levels to what's causing this. And that's the reason why when I hear us being compared to white folks or Latinos, and I don't do that because I realize within my spirit that no other group has come under the attack with our families that other ethnicities have. So our problems are going to be unique and our solutions are going to be unique. People act like sometimes, the problem started with city girls. But I remember in the 90s, Dr. Dre was talking about bees ain't ish, but blank and blank. So it's like it did not start with that. But see, that was accepted because we decided to allow somebody else to tell us who we are. It no longer became a subset of culture. It became more mainstream because we've always had outliers as far as music and movies and all of that. People have always had like a different amount of subgenres, right? But when that became mainstream culture, and to Brother Daryl's point, we decided to accept that. See, when a culture and other ethnicities have messages out in media, they get to decide, okay, that's not us, or we don't accept that. Or when persecution comes, they get on code. We do run ish. Black culture has always been the premium. Even over in Japan and other countries, they are putting on kinky wigs to have our hair texture. So
Absolutely.
we have always,
Asian men with afros. Yes, ma'am.
always, brother, always. But it's the problem is that when we decided to allow other messages and other propaganda, and we accepted like, yeah, that's us. That is when we allowed our power to be usurped, because we have always been family oriented. We have always been marriage oriented. Even the peak of slavery, when it wasn't even legal, even in the 60s, we were the most marrying folks. So I believe that once we realize, no, it's not just the men, no, it's not just the women, we don't play the blame game. We realize that on an institutional level, we are under attack with the messages that you mentioned, Brother Isaiah. But so when we talk about that, then there gets to be sometimes a disconnect with some of us, because then we have to have a certain amount of personal responsibility. We have to then decide, okay, I'm not going to take that into my brain. Or no, I'm not going to play, even though it's a bop. I've heard individuals literally struggle because that beat is so tight and that lyrics, and this is just what we grew up on. I understand the
That
nostalgia.
808, man. That 808 be hidden.
808 ain't nothing like it. And I understand the nostalgia, right? Yet at the same time, if we want solutions, we cannot decide at this very same time that we have no personal responsibility. It is going to take sacrifice because we are being pumped into messages through reality TV, through music, through media, through all of that. And if we decide that we're going to ingest that, you can't tell me that now we're going to view this beautiful brother, this beautiful sister ahead of us, and we're going to view them the same. I don't believe that because we are under attack.
And just to kind of add on to what you just said
I
about
agree.
that,
I
when it
agree
comes to the
with you.
music,
I just
I
I
want
don't
to
want y'all.
hold
I don't
on,
want you to think
D,
I
hold
was
on,
just
Daryl.
putting it
Hey,
all on
Daryl,
women.
hold on a second. Hold on a second, Daryl.
Okay.
But I want to add on what you just said about that. When it comes to the music, we got to realize that music makes vibrations. Now, in radio terms, they're called hertz and megahertz. You know what I'm talking about? But they're a vibration, and they place upon you a specific vibration so that you be in tune with this thing. So when they put the lyrics to that specific vibration, you're getting in tune with those lyrics. Like it's becoming part of you. And not only that, these vibrations also stir up certain psychological thoughts and emotions. And I think we miss that a lot of times. And they know this, like Gerald said earlier, and they studied these things. They've done a diligent search to find out what will make and break people just by radio waves, by specific ultraviolet lights and things of that nature. All this stuff is in play when we think about what's going on inside of our community and how we're continually finding ourselves destroyed.
But it's also what she was saying, taking responsibility, because now looking at those movies, they could have easily, yeah, he's an action hero, or have it go, but you could
My,
have
my brother.
they could have made it where this man was going home every night to take care of his family, showing that he was a family man, showing that he was married, you know. Um, so I feel like it's our responsibility to show the world that there are men like that, and there are, families like that still.
Indeed. And I just wanted to comment on something that you were saying earlier. And it's not that I believe that it's incorrect. I believe that there's an order to all things. And I think that Sister kind of hit on that order in the beginning of what she was saying when it was like in the 90s, who made it popular for uh, women to be viewed a specific way and act a specific way? We did. B's ain't nothing but H's and tricks. They heard it so much, they started becoming that. And we propagated that. So I believe it's up on it's on both. Like she said, it's an even keel
Yeah,
scale
I
that,
agree.
that
I
we that
agree.
we got to play out with that.
I agree. That's what I was gonna say. It's like it's not just on women to change it completely on them, because we got to change our mindset. Because if we thinking exactly what you said, the music that they pumping, um, B's ain't nothing but H's and tricks. It's like that's been pumped in our heads since little kids, and I could admit to thinking that that was cool, being a player that was
Yep.
cool,
Yep.
and
Facts.
playing on women, and being a just not just being a rotten dude to women, thinking it was cool because like this just what it was, and they understood what it was too, like this the game, and it wasn't cool. It's not cool. It never was, and so if my mindset was different as a kid, I'm sure I would have been married a long time ago, because I met a lot of great women growing up, in college, in high school, after college, like, and it wasn't until in my 30s that I started realizing, okay, I ain't gonna keep getting all these chances with good women.
P, you cut out. Where you go?
No, I was done
He's
preaching.
Oh, okay. I thought. Okay,
done.
nah, you cut out. My bad. Nah,
Yeah.
but I think you 100% correct on that notion when it comes to, especially what you said earlier about being hurt. Hurt people hurt people. That's a true saying. No matter what how you try and slice it,
Man,
and
when that girl hurt me, it was boy. Look,
it was a wrap. And
it
all you
was,
knew was like, man, either I'm not
man.
getting hurt again, or I'm finna spread this
Exactly.
hurt
I'm
out.
gonna play
And
the
it was one of the
role.
two.
I love you. Love you. Get what I want, and I'm gone.
And I think that's the prevailing thought amongst men. Uh, I'm just not sure how. I'm just not sure how a part of the dynamic that is right now. I can't say it's not, because I'm not a teenager any longer. You know what I'm saying? Okay,
Man,
well,
these
it could
listen.
be. It very well could be.
You know how many men I know still little boys. So that most definitely is still going on, bro. It's a
Brother,
lot of grown little boys out here, man. So
So y'all, so hold on. So y'all think that in today's current day, that men are still being hurt at a young age by women?
yes, brother, absolutely.
what?
Mm.
That is still a thing, 120%. I have heard brothers who've been hurt at a young age and have divested from black women because of it. I've heard of that. I've heard of saying the only reason why I really want to go to white women is because of that. And this is it. Even if they don't internalize it, if they've had complicated relationships with their mother, that's the first issue. They upset and hurt that their father was not in the picture for whatever reason, whether by choice or whether by dysfunction of the relationship. So now the only person in the home who stayed, now there's a deep seated resentment. The very first mother in his life, woman in his life, he's got a complicated relationship with. And if that's dysfunctional, that's the first strike against a black woman. Then if he does have a relationship with a woman in his youth, then that's another strike. And I have heard brothers be so stuck in that zone. All of black men don't have a monopoly on hurt. I'm just saying, because other all of us hurt people if we're hurt. But I'm saying I have heard of real reason for not moving forward with marriage because emotionally and psychologically they are stuck in that space at a very young age. Absolutely. And now it's turned from, okay, I'm not seeking anybody, right? Either I'm going to divest from black women completely, or I'm just out here getting bodies. That's what it is. And a lot of time
Yeah,
I'm gonna get my bag.
yeah.
I'm gonna get bodies. And it is like such it's so hurtful when I see that because I think, brother, if that hurt was healed, do you know how much of an asset you would be? But because we are stuck in that, and because also that mentality is also rewarded. That's the also thing. Whatever we feel as individuals, if the culture, like the player culture that Brother Darrell was talking about, when that is rewarded, that is also reinforced. I will say this once we accept others' opinion of who we are, of player culture, pimp culture, like the brothers mentioned, I will also say we will follow y'all. I hear what you're saying. I know that the African proverb is teach the woman and you teach the family because we are the first teachers by virtue of motherhood. But I will say, naturally, y'all, we are followers of y'all. It's like it's like we're followers, and I will say we all need to accept responsibility. Women, of accepting that gangster into our lives and only wanting bad boys, we got to accept responsibility for that. But I also will say that if you all are our leaders, and you are, I take issue with the fact to say, well, it's up to y'all to do X, Y, Z. No, we will naturally follow y'all. So there's a sense of responsibility to say, who develops sip culture? I am so tired of hearing of black men call other black men simps for treating their wives well, for treating their families well. And that's almost looked at, man, you a square, you corny. Where did that
Hold
come
on,
from?
hold on.
Where did that come
I
from?
gotta get in on that, because that's what the
I
definition of
have
that
heard
word is
that.
today.
No.
No, today that's the definition, but the genesis of that definition is not doing the manly or right thing according to your woman. It was a dude that was seeking attention from a woman and doing too much for her, and she did nothing for him. That's a simp. That's the original. But today's day, These young fellas are saying, man, if you buy your girl some flowers, you a simp.
That's what I mean, brother. I'm not talking about the original definition because nobody's supposed to be allowing anybody to take advantage of them. I'm not talking about the original definition. I'm talking about what has morphed into now. And now it's getting to be is, man, you a Russell Wilson. If you a stepfather, I'm not just regular things to where is that's that man's choice. We don't know that person's relationship. That's what I mean, what it has morphed into. And now it's the thing to where it's the personal responsibility. And whatever a person feels, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna land, whatever a person feels about the civil rights movement, right? People have mixed views on that. But one of the reasons why it was so powerful is because we made so many sacrifices and we made it over a long term. Solutions will not work ever unless we are willing to take a personal sacrifice. So if we have to not listen to certain music and not bring it into our home because of that, if we have to hold our friends accountable to where it's saying, man or woman, if you're doing that person wrong and I see you you're having this chain of behavior, we can't really rock like that. But a lot of individuals of us feel like we can be around, what is it saying, the five people you're around the most influence you the most. A lot of people feel like they can be around people who are actively harming people emotionally, who are actively treating each other like we're trash, and we can be around them and be unscathed. Man, he a wild boy. Yeah, but have you held your homie accountable saying, bruh, you can't be like running through these women like this and hold and lying to them like you own a relationship with them. You can't be dogging them like that. And for us as ladies, we can't be having sisters close to us in our circle who dog other people and feel like we'll be unscathed. That's a sacrifice. I'm not saying being judgmental and telling people how to run their lives. I'm just saying what this it calls for something personal or we're not going to get anywhere because we will tend to bleed over into the culture that we're around.
Man, I wish I could drop a bomb on everything you just said right now because you just dropped a nuke. You just dropped a nuke on, man. If I had my sound machine right now, I'm without it. But everything you said is a great deal of my sentiments that you just expressed, I guess, from a feminine dynamic, though. Because by my best estimation, with us being the leaders, we're the ones who have to go ahead. The time is coming. We stop asking. We can't. I mean, we done did enough asking. Hey, man, listen, we went through the whole '90s and a good part of the 2000s. Baby, please, baby, please. We had Keith Sweat. We had all these R&B singers who were begging. He the king of begging, but nonetheless, we had a lot of R&B brothers who were begging. And it's time that we stop begging. It's time that we begin to grab the bull by the reins and go ahead and steer this thing in a direction that is righteous, not in a direction that feel good. Because if we go about off how we feel, as even as men, we got feelings. We often paint the picture as if though we're emotionless robots. That's not the case. Yeah, we're logical, but we still also have a sentiment or feelings section to us. It's not, and sometimes it overrides our logic. So we can't go over over the edge or over the deep end on how we feel about a thing versus what is going to be beneficial and proven and tested that will work. We didn't make it to this so-called year of 2026 by happenstance. Our elders, our forefathers and foremothers had a program and it worked. And now we're sitting up here as a new day, and we believe we know so much because we got the internet and we got all manners of smartphones and this, that, and third, that we so smart and we got the answers. And society and the overall civilization is telling us that we don't got all the answers. Everything that we think we know is proven to be wrong. Every way that we think we're supposed to be going is showing that it's got a lot of downside to it. And all this independent thinking and all this independent mantra is only taking us further and further away from the goal. If you want to be so well off and rich, you don't get that by saying, I'm going to do it on my own. There's no corporation out here, multi-million-dollar corporation, Fortune 500 corporation, is out here saying, we don't need employees. We can do it on our own. They're not saying that. They're looking for the brightest and the best to come in and do a job and do a thing. And family is the is the is the culmination of a corporation. It is two people that came together, merged together as one mind, one body, to go ahead and birth into the world new helpers. You just made a team. You just made a team, and that team supposed to carry you somewhere to climb a ladder and get you into a different a stratosphere. But that's not the way we looking at it. We're looking at it as if though, no, 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 no. I don't need no team. I'm gonna build my own ladder. I'm gonna erect it myself, and I don't need nobody to hold this ladder because I got the best balance in ever. And that's the way we thinking about these things instead of thinking about it as in how do I cultivate a winning team, a winning team. Not looking at my my starting shooting guard as the enemy because he shoot the ball all the time and he get the credit. Nah, 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 nah. That's his job. His job. He's called the shooting guard for a reason. He get the ball, and when he get the ball, what he do with it? He get open and he shoot. The point guard is supposed to pass the ball to those who can score. And like right now, it seems as though everybody want to be the shooting guard. Everybody want to score. Don't nobody want to be the one to facilitate. Don't nobody want to be the one that takes responsibility. Hey, if we lose this game, guess who it's on? It's on me. We don't win this particular game, okay, it's on me. I made bad decisions, but y'all right here with me. The team want to be like, oh, screw the point guard now. We need a new one. And I'm giving this sports analogy because of the fact of the matter. That's what marriage is. It's two people forming a team. And as long as we sitting here thinking that we don't gotta form no team, we're not gonna start winning. We just gonna have a bunch of Oprahs and Michael Jordans who really ain't helping the community at all, doing nothing for the community. And as long as that's the case, how do we begin to begin? Okay, no, if that's the case, why are we steady fixing our mouth asking for a seat at the table? We asking the other nations to give us a seat at the table, but yet we don't want to do the thing that's necessary to get the seat. We just want somebody to pull it out like we some kind of female and let us sit down and give it to us. And that's not how these things work, man. All this got to be earned, and it come from from the micro, but that micro, all these micros coming together make the macro, and we only concerned with the micro. That's how I'm seeing that.
I agree. And I feel like it's one of the things that starts with on a very small level. Because, see, the way I have to look at things, I have to look at things from a very small grassroots level because I feel like that's how major change happens, like you said, with the micro level. Even just something we can do today that doesn't cost anything. It's just how we view each other. We were ripped from our countries. We were ripped from our continent. We were ripped from our flag, our language. We were given trauma in our in ourselves. The way that they ripped us from each other. A lot of those remnants are there today, but it can be healed. A lot of the ways we look at each other, we have adopted this individualistic Western view as far as we can look at another black person right across the way and say, "They ain't none of my brother, they ain't none of my sister. I'm just care about me and mine." That's not our
Facts.
view. That's an Anglo view. That is not never been our philosophy. And people
Facts.
can feel how they feel about segregation and integration. Yes, there were uh, positive aspects of it in some way from a financial economic standpoint. But when we were segregated, we were forced to do business with each other. We were forced to interact with each other. And there was a flourishing there. That's the reason why so many of those towns were burned and flooded and torn down because we were doing a little bit too well. So, how we view each other, that can speak volumes. If we look at each other, we might not know each other. And yes, in every group, there are people who are out to harm and help. But if we still viewed each other as family until we have reason to believe that we're not, someone does something to harm us or do whatever, then of course we move accordingly with discernment. But even the way we interact with each other, that we don't just view that brother and sister as another opportunity or something that we can, go through. to not treat each other as disposable. If we are getting to know someone, not treating it as transactional only, as treating it as a reciprocity. That's something I feel like before we even go into the macro things, that is something that we definitely can do. That is my brother, that is my sister. Even though we may disagree on things, we may disagree on things strongly, and we may have completely different views on certain things. We can still come together and feel like we are still a village, and that will do a lot to even start some of these solutions. How we interact with each other, how we view each other. That is something that is really important to me.
And that's the reason why this conversation is started, why this uh, platform was ever birthed into the world, is to begin to cultivate those solutions and to bring the togetherness that we need. That is the problem. That is, and I'm glad that you've been harping on it. You've been saying it over and over and over again. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this is a resounding bell that continues to ring throughout the minds of all of us and those who are under the sound or the power of our voices. Is that it is because we are decentering togetherness. The catchphrase today right now is decenter men. But guess what? The real phrase that pays is decentering togetherness, unity. We have decentered unity. Unity is not anything that's a hot topic any longer. It used to be. Back in the day, it was UNITY, UNITY, yeah. That was the saying back in the day. It was unity. It was harped on. You heard it. You felt it. You saw it. You lived it for the most part. But now today is we're gonna decenter that. We're gonna make sure that the center of civilization is that you believe you got to do this on your own, and you're gonna believe that no one is good enough to help you do it. And that's speaking from both perspectives of the men and the woman. And you can put it together however you want to, but that's the perspective that's being disseminated. And until we start changing that, coming back to saying that, hey, we need each other as a community. And I think that will probably be the first beginning part of it, is believing that we need each other as a community. So the sooner I start having respect and see you on the street and you might need help doing something. Hey, you moving something heavy in your yard. It used to be, man, listen, from the block that I come from, if Miss Jenkins came pulled up to the house and she had groceries, man, didn't none of us, and this is back when drug dealing was big, and this is back when we on the block just doing all the smoking and everything we can be doing. Drop what you doing. Miss Jenkins down the block need us to go get them groceries in our crib. We had some unity, even though we were still doing some terrible things, but we had some unity. And now it's a desert. Call this a unity desert. It is a hot, sandy, death place. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to this unity, and until I think we start becoming more centered on that train of thinking and begin to inject unity into the veins of the societies, then we're gonna continue to have a lot of the issues that we're hoping to fix. So I think that really got to be stated and stated emphatically, that unity, the mindset of coming together, has to be there. How we gonna come together and be married if all I've been knowing is use somebody and throw them away? That's what condoms really made. Condoms, when they came out, because back in the 60s and 70s, they ain't had condoms. So you were kind of, even though that was the era of free love, or the beginning of the era of free love, people were still kind of sort of connected. You know what I'm saying? You might have said free love and went out there and gave somebody something, but you knew that person and you stayed in tune with that person. That might not have been your man, but you stayed in tune with him. Today, nah, quite different. Condoms them made it so. I'm not saying because people don't even use them no more, but the inception of them breeded something, and it breeded the thought process of, I can slap this on, take it off, and forget you with it. That's what it began to breed. I know that's how I thought about it. I was one of the guys who, hey, no, I always got some condoms. I'm always wrapping it up, and I'm gonna forget about who I unwrapped. You know what I'm saying? So this is the way I believe that train of thinking or that vein of thinking has injected a poison into our community that is running its course, and I don't know when are we going to find the antidote. But I do believe that you've come across a solution or an antidote for this, which is called unity. Let's start coming back to being wanting to be a unit, a team, a community. We say we got community. The only time we got community is when it's about money. When it's about money, oh yeah, a black owned business right here, buy black, patronize black. That's when we started talking about unity. But if it ain't about no dollar bills, y'all, we don't know what that word means. But I've been talking for a while. I'm gonna open it up to any other panelists that want to speak. Girl, Sister Kaya, if you are available, you got a moment, chime in. We really want to hear from you though. But I know she got the kids, so
I got a moment. I think I got a moment. Hopefully, they
all
can
right.
stay quiet for about 2 minutes. I have been listening and ingesting everything, and I 100% agree with everything that has been said. I want to touch a little further back on what Sister Rowe was bringing up about our culture. And in 2026, I think that we have to recognize that the culture is shifting and that social media is now a part of our culture. And social media has been a blessing, but it has also been so detrimental to the psyche of the Black community. I believe that the things that are pushed on social media in regards to Black people are not positive. And if it is positive, it's you got to hustle to get to this lavish lifestyle, and then that's all that people see. Or if you have a couple that's married and now they're putting their marriage, on Front Street for social media to be an example, their marriage is falling apart because now it's publicized and everybody can comment on it. And you have comments and people that are talking to you, that are engaging with you that you would have never normally engaged with. One second. That you would have never normally engaged with. So now it's just inviting a lot of ideas and opinions into a fold that was only meant to be made for the people that were married. And I think that social media has really just done its number because, like Uzziah was mentioning, we have this very individualistic mentality and this mindset, and it's a main character syndrome, as they like to call it on social media, on Instagram or Facebook or whatever the case is. It's the main character syndrome of I'm the main character of my story and you're just a supporting character. So I can do you however I'm gonna do you because I'm the main character. It's all about me, and it's this instant gratification. I post a picture and I get 150 likes in 30 seconds, and it makes people feel good, and it makes people forget that your life has to continue outside of your phone, outside of your laptop, outside of your tablet. People don't know how to even communicate with one another anymore outside of texting. I've heard people say, I don't like to talk on the phone. I text. If you want to talk to me, you text me. And I was like that. I'm like that still to a certain extent. But if I need to talk to you, but I can still hold a conversation in person. I know there are some people that, have such social anxiety that they're not even able to step outside their house. And social media has created this generation of people that are just depressed all the time because they're looking through a screen at someone else's life, wishing that that was their life, and it's just destroying everything. I think that we need to get away from this. It, I don't think that social media is ever going to go away, but I do think that there needs to be more of a push and more of a demand for holistic social media. I don't always need to open up Instagram and see twerking or butts hanging out of shorts and things like that. I don't need to see men half naked working out because there's another side to that as well. It's not just about the women and their sexual appeal. It's also about the men as well because everything is a money gimmick. You get a lot of followers on Instagram, you can start getting paid from Instagram. Why wouldn't I quit my job working a 9 to 5 for a degree that I had that I went to school for to do social media. So I think that while we're recognizing that, music has played a part, I think we also have to dive deep and see that social media is really, really doing its number, especially with this younger generation. These kids nowadays don't know how to wait for anything. They don't want to get a job. They want to partake in a team takeover. We want to take over Chipotle of all places. You know, we want to just show off for the gram. We got to do it for the gram or do it for TikTok. It's all about what other people see through a screen. And it's not about anything interpersonal. And that's why when my husband and I were watching videos, it's so hard to even really enjoy certain videos because it's like, man, is this a skit? Are they playing us right now? Like, is this even real? Because I can't tell anymore. If I'm not watching a scripted show made for television, I don't know what's real on social media anymore. And I think that fakeness on social media has transitioned into fakeness in life. And we don't know how to be authentic anymore. I think it's all a show, it's all a facade. So I'm gonna land my plane there.
Yeah, you just said a mouthful, especially when you bring into the notion of social media. I mean, we've been talking for about an hour so far, and we have not explored the notion that social media definitely does uh, have a lot or a foot stranglehold on our community. They foot on, it's got its foot on our neck because, like you said, you can't open up threads. You definitely can't open up threads without seeing a great deal of skin. You can't open up Facebook, Instagram, um, without it being a display of the human body. And it's not to say that um, human body is disgusting, repulsive, or any of the other sort. What it is to say is that mm, we have to start showing up in spaces that's we have to start showing up the way we want to be seen everywhere. Yeah, in that particular arena, yeah, being in the gym, working out as a man and wanting to put some content out as working out, you might want to show off your pecs, your triceps, and things of that nature. But guess what? That's not the only arena of life that you will be in. Same thing with a sister. Yeah, you want to get your Instagram followers up, and you got a bubble butt, so therefore you want to show it off. Hey, look, but that ain't the only arena or place that you will be in. Matter of fact, let's think a little bit bigger than that. That's not the only place those images will be viewed, and people will see those images and only characterize the broader scope of our community by those images. They're only gonna see, oh yeah, that's what they do, man. They do drill. You from Chicago? Oh man, you got a pistol on you. So I'm gonna pat you down. Hey, bro, I'm from the suburbs of Chicago. So what? You black? And that means that this is what you do. Because I saw 16,000 other people that look like you continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. And I think we forget that. I think we forget that images go into the world, people view those images and make a snap judgment on what they just saw. And you don't understand how terribly difficult it is to change your image once someone has already made their mind up about you. And this happens in the human psyche fast. Within the first 7 seconds of meeting somebody, you've already cultivated the way you think or perceive them. And it's almost like no matter what they do, it's hard for them to change that. If you meet somebody and they think that you're a nasty person, guess what? For the remainder of that relationship, in the back of their head or even more close to the middle front of their head, they're gonna see you as that nasty person. It's not going. I don't care how many white shirts you put on and that bad boy, perfect white crispy tee, ironed out and everything. First time I saw you, you was a nasty slob who had on bogus shoes and red Kool-Aid stains on your shirt. That's the way they know you now. So how much more is it that if they continuously seeing a group of people doing the same thing over and over again, that's the way they know us. That's the way they know us. And it's going to be terribly difficult to change that. I'm not saying it's impossible, It's just terribly difficult. But because it's terribly difficult, don't mean we shouldn't put in the work to try and change it. That don't mean we shouldn't put the effort forward to make a change. It just means that we got an uphill battle to track,
No,
and it's
I
time to get
100%.
moving.
I'm sorry. I
Go ahead.
100%
Go ahead.
agree. Um, Dang it, I lost my train of thought. But I was gonna say I agree 100% with everything that you just said. It was one thing I wanted to touch on in particular, and I cannot for the life of me remember. But go ahead.
My bad. Hey, next time you catch me, I don't mind shutting
I
up.
know, no, because I wanted you to land because I was like, man, I know it's this one part I want to touch on. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Well, I mean, that's about to the extent I got on that because I'm just glad that you brought it to the forefront. Social media is definitely something that's rearing its dirty head and showing us to be less than savory people.
That's
I
exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. Um, we need to push. We need to glorify the things that need to be glorified. On social media, it's too many things that are just unsavory and not healthy that are glorified. Women publicly dating multiple men. You know, Meg the Stallion, when she was going through her thing with Clay Thompson, everybody made a big deal about how many celebrities she's dated. That's not good because I know she's sleeping with all of them. In that type of environment,
no,
you can't.
no, sister. The sisterhood said you lying.
I don't
The
care what they
sisterhood
said. We
said
know
you
what's really
lying.
going down. We know what's going down. Okay, she not throwing it back on the gram for nothing. Okay, all I'm saying is that those types of things are glorified, and nowadays it's like it's cool. You know, you see a video on TikTok and it's gone viral, but a portion of the dance includes twerking. Now you got people of other nations that wouldn't normally be partaking in these types of dance because we made it popular, we made it hot, and like Sister Ro was saying, we are the blueprint that other nations like to follow. So if we're doing things that we already know is going to be glorified on social media and people are going to praise it, whether it's good or bad, because in any situation on social media, if you look at those comments and it's a terribly bad thing happening, somebody did shot somebody, there's somebody in the comments trying to justify why that person shot whomever. Something in the comments that's going to demonize the victim. It's always both sides. So since we know that that's the case, we need to stop glorifying and making things so popular when they don't need to be. We need to start, like I keep saying it, publicly shaming people. You want to put everything out for the public to have an opinion on, we need to start publicly shaming you. Cancel culture needs to actually be a thing, but for the right things. Now people want to say, "Oh, you're against trans activism. We're going to cancel you." How about, "Oh, you're against marriage. You're against having two healthy or however many healthy parents involved in a situation in a community, having a community of healthy, sound-minded people to make things better instead of this, it's just ridiculous." But that I land.
Nah, go ahead, Ro. You got it.
Yeah, so uh, I really appreciate what the sister just said about a lot of different things. I think social media is one thing that I really appreciated, Sister Kaya said, because like any tool, right, it has a lot of benefits, but there's the drawback. I remember listening to a psychiatrist who was talking in an interview about the long-term effects of social media and the fact that we are literally raising a generation of, and I hate to use this word because I know it's overused, but he used it in a therapeutic setting. He said narcissist because of all of this main character, because of all of what the sister just mentioned. We are centering ourselves so much. For the first time in social history, everything is revolved around us. And even though social media is a great tool to be able to connect with certain situations that we would not have otherwise, there are drawbacks. And when we're dealing with the generation that has more narcissists, not necessarily narcissist personality disorder, but narcissistic tendencies. We take that mentality right on up into dating. We no longer look into dating and marriage as saying, how can I serve? To me, a healthy man thinks
How
in
can I
terms
get?
of, right, like healthy, like stewardship. I've been entrusted with this. How can I serve my family? How can I give? A wife, how can I give to my husband? How can There's less of that reciprocity, and the thing where is, what do you bring to the table? And this is my table, by the way. This is my table. I'm the prize. Both people are prizes, and I'm gonna try to see what I can what I can extract from you. And if you're not worthy, then I'm gonna dog you. If you hit over a certain amount of age, you didn't hit the wall. If you don't look like this certain archetype, you're not worthy. So even though the Most High has told us he wants to give us the desires of our hearts, yeah, if you don't fit this archetype physically, you're not worthy because of your age, because of how you shape, because of how you make. This is completely different. And when those messages are multiplied and scattered over the thousands and millions, it is changing our culture. So that's the mentality that social media, I feel, a lot of times
Let
multiplies.
me get a little bit more clarity on what you mean by some of the things that you just said. As far as it's concerning with the way a person is shaped, what made you speak that as part of a diagnosis or a part of the filtering out of social media?
The reason why I brought that up is because what came to mind were a number of criteria that some people use in surface conversations as to why the other gender is not worthy for a healthy relationship. And many times it's not based on character, it's not based on shared values, but it's based on things such as, you're not worthy because you are a certain age. You hit a wall. We know a certain kind of influencer made that phrase popular, and even though he's gone, people are still using that. So it's age. It's also physical archetype. There are there is a certain look, and I will say, listen, as a creative, I'm not into basically policing how people look, policing how people adorn themselves. I may have my personal opinions, but I'm not into policing thinking everybody needs to look the same. But I will notice that there's a certain look that has been made popular. And because of the rise of social media and all these visual messages, it's a certain kind of look, it's a certain kind of type. Whereas the way that certain individuals are adorning themselves, I think it is. It's not as much room for creativity, individuality. It's like, I'm going to put this on because this is what the popular look. And it's not just to this generation. That's what I mean. I mean the fact that it is, we are dissecting each other based on shallow means, trying to decide if the other person is worthy of marriage based on those things. And one of them is body type. That's what I meant. Am I making sense with that?
I would contend that because as you develop that thought more, the first thing that popped in my head is a Cardi B or what's that girl name that used to be with Kim Kardashian. I started thinking of the I started having thoughts more along the line of they're pushing that women should be shaped a specific way, is what I was thinking. But then as you kind of unraveled that thought a little bit more, I see that you're more pulling on the strings of they want people to fit a specific category. And that does not always just have to be looks. You kind of speaking about age, aesthetic, build, and the way you dress. Am I correct with that?
It's duality, it's an A and B. That what you just said, based on shallow means, but also the fact that it is, when I say body type, I mean what you just mentioned. Now, I'm not going to pick apart somebody's body, but a lot of people complain, well, you see all these, a woman's augmented her body and she's doing all these things. I hear complaints about that, and I'm not going to get off into that. But we are, again, natural followers. So if we were on an island full of women and it was just us, I do not believe it would be this many women picking apart their bodies and doing that. We're doing that with the gaze of men. And now it's gotten so exaggerated because black women, since it's always been shapely, that ain't nothing new.
Hey,
But
hold on. I
now it has
gotta
been
push back on that.
commercialized. You push
I
back
gotta
on
push back on that. Yeah, because you just said they do it for the gaze of men. Every woman, man, I'm in a hotel right
but
now. I
now it's
pick
out of the
5 women
control.
and say, "Hey, why you wearing that?" Oh, because I look good in it. I did it for I wore this for myself. They gonna tell me that. 9 out of 10 women gonna tell me
No,
I wore it for
I agree
myself.
with you. I hear you with that. A lot of time, and here's the thing, I believe that I hear you with that, but I'm just saying that everything is there are individuals who do that just because I wear what I want a lot of times because I'm not trying to get attention. I wear it because I this is what I want. What I'm saying is that a lot of times we do things within the other person's gaze, and it's like now a lot of the men are getting tired of it because it's getting so exaggerated. It's getting to a lot of degrees. Some people feel like it's gotten out of control. The only thing I'm saying is this: we're looking at the wrong things. We're looking at the shallow things. We're not looking at character. And because social media has allowed us to be able to view us as the main
Boom.
character in our story, that we feel like other people are our minions there to serve us. And that is a very dangerous mindset. We are not coming here with servant hearts. We are not coming here to see what we can do to serve the other person. And that to me is a dangerous thing in a marriage. That's what I mean. It's a
I,
good
I
a
was
marriage mate.
I
when you.
agree. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I agree too. I was just thinking when she said she wear what she want. I think she was saying something when she said that. I think she, I think she
I'm not
putting it
saying
on.
actual words, brother, because I don't want to get off into another subject. But I'm not
maybe
saying actual phrases. But you
maybe
call
cross the
it.
street talking about Miss Parker, Miss Parker.
Wait, I didn't hear that part. What happened?
They be across the street talking about Miss Parker, Miss Parker.
Oh my stars.
And what was you finna say, Kaya?
No, I was just gonna add, in addition to people not being willing to have this, I'm willing to help mentality, I'm willing to assist. We also, as a people, and I want to say specifically women, they probably gonna be mad at me for this, but I have to say it. Women have an issue sacrificing. Women, we are raised, and I think I've said this before. We're raised to believe that we can have it all. We can get whatever we want because we're women, and everything that we want should be accessible. So if we're not receiving every little bitty thing that we want, that situation is not going to work for us. I've seen women, you know, I've heard of women, seen women give up marriages for happiness. I wasn't happy. I can understand that mentality, but I don't excuse it. I believe that you have to be willing to sacrifice certain ideals when you're joining two together. It's not going to always be peaches and cream. And I've seen people say, oh, I wasn't happy. And that was in the middle of strife that was happening inside of their marriage. Maybe some disaster happened, or, the husband lost his job, or things like that. We tend to want to leave and quit when things get hard. And we don't want to see it through because, oh, I'm feeling so bad and I'm feeling so terrible right now, but we can't see past it. But then you talk to couples that have been married for 40, 50, 60, 70 years, and you ask them, how did we make it through? They'll tell you, oh, we continue to choose each other every day. Or I've heard people in my family that have been married for extended periods of time, and they said, we made sacrifices for one another. It wasn't just always about what I wanted, it wasn't always about what she wanted, it always wasn't about the kids. So I think that we have to be accustomed with the thought process that we're not going to get everything that we want. If you can, that's great. But chances are you're not going to have everything you want handed to you on a silver platter. You're going to have to work for it. And if you're willing to work and sacrifice and compromise, then maybe we can get somewhere. But there's no more compromise. It's either my way or it's the highway. And I think that that's a mentality that we need to change. Um, Specifically, a lot of times with women. I'm not gonna say the men don't have that mentality because I do see men come with a laundry list of requirements that a woman needs to have as well. So I think that on both sides, we have to be willing to have some sort of give and take. And we need to talk about things in the beginning. We need to express up front, these are my requirements. These are the things that I require of you. That way that person knows what the expectation is. That way they know, man, he wants me to dress a certain type of way. I don't like dressing that way. So maybe I can tell him at the beginning, listen, I don't know if that's something that I'm comfortable doing. Maybe we can work on that together, find a compromise somewhere in the middle. Or if not, we in the beginning stages of our relationship. Nothing has is solidified. So we don't have to be together. That's just my thought.
And the thing about that is, it takes a great deal of courage to do that, though, from both parties. The sister has to have a great deal of courage to be able to say, yeah, I can acquiesce to that, or no, I don't want to do that. And the gentleman has to have a great deal of courage because you're asking, or you're uh, you're presenting a thought to someone that requires change. And everybody knows change is not easy, nor is it always accepted. So you're doing something that requires a great deal of courage as well. But we got to be courageous. If you want the end goal, you don't get there by being timid. You don't get there by dipping your toe in the pool and always taking it out. You're never gonna get in like that. So you got to have a great deal of courage. You got to approach the situation from a courageous standpoint of knowing I could miss out now. I could lose out now, but you won't lose out forever because the end goal is there. You're just going through the process of weeding out the bad applicants, the ones who are not going to fit the program, as men and as women. And I think that that's something that's probably lost upon us to some degree, that we don't think about the courage it takes to make a relationship last, from the beginning of it to the end of it. It is a great deal of courage one has to go in. Courage does not mean that you're not afraid. Courage is is acting in the midst of fear. That's what courage is. Not saying I'm without fear. I don't have it. It's not here. It's not present. No, it's present, but I'm doing the thing I gotta do even while fear is present. And that is the act of being courageous. And I think that the moment that we begin to gear our minds toward courageous thoughts, the moment it will be the moment that so much change will start happening on its own organically, because we'll start to do the things that we would never have ever thought about doing because of fear gripping us, seizing us, paralyzing us. So we have a I hate to end this conversation. I got some other things I gotta go ahead and get to doing. But man, I'm tempted to say we may have to do this more often. I like this conversation. Hopefully I can carve out some more time. I'm thinking about taking a little time off from work to get some things right. But I really appreciate all of you all showing up and giving your thoughts. So with that, I want to hear a final thought from everybody, if they would. We started off with, I believe it was Ro started off, so we're gonna go in reverse order. Kaya, you was last, so go ahead. You can go first this time. Can you give us your final thought?
I just want to leave everybody with some positivity. You know, just because it's hard doesn't mean that it is unattainable. Just because it is difficult or it might look grim doesn't mean that it's not going to be better or that better days will not come. I just want to encourage everyone to continue to push forward, to be your better self, be better today, well, tomorrow than you were today, and just continue to just put forth positivity. And let's not stay the way that we are. Let's continue to change. I love these types of conversations. I love the solutions that were brought up because, again, we did not just talk about what we see wrong, we offer solutions. And I think that that is what it's all about. I want everyone that's listening to just listen with an open mind. If it hit home for a reason. Think about it, ponder on it, talk about it with your family, friends, and loved ones, and let's just share this good word because I think that we all want better for ourselves. So let's do better. I
Like,
land.
share, and subscribe. Like,
Like,
share, and
share, and
subscribe.
subscribe.
All right, all right. My brother Daryl, he wants to be so professional. My brother Daryl, what you got? Final thought.
Yeah, my final thought is I love what everybody brought today. I learned a lot. It was I think it's our environment we need to take in consideration. Um, the people that's around us. I think marriage is a great thing for some people, as long as it's with the right person. I remember a lot of conversations with um, men that's been married for a long time, and I didn't get a lot of times I didn't get what Kaya got from family members that all we woke up and chose each other, and it was some of that, but it was also I got um, that that they cheated. They had somebody else. Like, I know she got something going on. She know I got something going on, but we don't disrespect each other. We don't bring it back to the house. And so um, I think for a long time, my environment and the people I was around um, really messed my head up on that topic on marriage. And so now that I have a better understanding on life and love and my relationship with God. I'm looking forward to having that union one day. So that's all I got to say, pretty much.
All right, all right. Sister Ro, come on, bring us home.
All right. So I just wanted to thank everybody for their amazing shares. We've again, this is something that I appreciate Brother Zai is going to have in a series because it's definitely something that's got to be explored in multiple conversations. But my main takeaway is that we got to have the conversations and we got to be vulnerable. I appreciate what Brother Darrell said about about the hurt in the ninth grade. A lot of brothers feeling that it's vulnerable for us to be able to admit that we've been hurt. And that's the reason why we're not open to marriage. It's vulnerable for us as women to say, we looked at our mothers and grandmothers tell us the hurt they felt, and we vowed never to be that person. Those are the conversations we need to have. Because if we humble ourselves enough to be able to listen to the other person's why, instead of already deciding why, that they're no good, they're trying, we got to have the vulnerable conversations, like Sister Kaya said, with an open heart. We are not going to find each other and connect for long if we are not willing to be humble enough to listen and if we're not being able to be vulnerable enough to express. So that is my takeaway, to continue to have these vulnerable conversations, not with a spirit of ego and going into it saying why the other side is wrong or why they are to blame. We are not going to have solutions unless we drop that ego, get humble, and be willing to get vulnerable. It's hard, but it's worth it.
Well, I thank you all for being here, for taking time to come and share your thoughts and even bring some insightful uh, positions to this conversation. I listened to everything that everyone said, and the areas where I believe that we need a little bit pushback, I did my best to give it, but it wasn't very many because I think that everybody's thinking from a sound perspective of moving our community forward. And now, as Ro just spake about pointing the finger, I don't believe that pointing the finger is going to be very productive, but I do believe that we have to identify the problems. And if I'm the problem, or if me being or doing what most men do is a problem, that I do need it to be identified. But I don't believe that pointing the finger, that's different. It's a different thing of saying, hey, listen, this is an issue that we got to tackle. And I think that the issue is in your court because of this. This is why I see that you're not hitting the mark, maybe possibly even failing that. That's one thing versus saying, and everything you do is stupid and dumb, and I can't believe that you did that. And why would you do that, man? Listen, you know it's your that's a different story. And I think that that is the deterrent, that is the downfall of out of this. I won't say of this section of the internet. You know what I mean? That's the downfall of this, is at the point of the finger. But as my final thought is or concerning my final thought, I think marriage is not in demand. I think people are just talking a bunch of hot air, but I think that marriage needs to be demanded. I think marriage must be a demand in our society and our thinking and the way that we go about living our lives. We should be cultivating children at a young age, 12, 15, 17, 18, 20, already understanding the scope of what marriage is. I jumped into marriage, and even though I had my parents there with me all my life, or for most of my life up until I think I was 24, 25, and I saw marriage, I didn't really understand the inner workings of it. No one sat me down and gave that to me. But that should be something that we give to our children, so that as they embark on relationships, they're already embarking upon a relationship with the mental shaping of what a relationship should be already in progress. That way, so they can better identify what's healthy, what's unhealthy, what do I need, what do I don't need, what do I not need. They can be able to identify these things and do it at a prescribed rate that is going to be satisfactory. It's not satisfactory if you're only getting 40% of it right. You know what I'm saying? It's unsatisfactory if you're only getting 50% of it right. You really need to be at a level of 75 or better. And yeah, but you can work on that from there. It's hard to work from behind. You already in the negative and you trying to get to a positive. That's real tough. Let's start in the green and it only get better. So I do believe that marriage should be in demand. We need to start shifting our minds and our uh, and the way we think towards marriage, and also put social media in its place. Social media is another platform that is used to uh, persuade people to spend money on things, or persuade people to do and think a specific way. We need to begin to put that on pause and not let it rule our lives, but we rule it, because it does have its uses. So with that, I offer everyone to start thinking about, or I challenge everyone to start thinking in terms of courage, being courageous, speaking what's on your mind respectfully, taking a position. And actually, as men, we have to stand for something, or we're gonna fall for everything. And as women, being the delicate women that are strong intentioned and willed in the sense of they understand what is good and what is evil. And if we understand that as a collective, I think we'll do well. So with that, hey man, I just want to say thanks once again to everyone who here has spoke, and all of you all out there that are watching this at home or on your tablet, on your phone, wherever you're watching from. We thank you for joining in. We ask, and we would most certainly love it if you hit that like and share button and hype the video, please. It's a little button. You gotta go search for it. I don't even know where it's at, but search for it and you find that hype button and you hit it, so we can get this message and this conversation out to all those who are willing to hear. Thank you once again for joining us here at Let's Talk Solutions. Peace.